How you doing? It's Mike, and I got a little secret weapon. Well, maybe not. We'll see how it turns out. We've got a little bit of problem going on with two of our boats, and it's the timing of going from the feather to the square. And they're all not doing it together. And one of the things I'm thinking, and it might be the visual cues. The oars we're using right now, which we love, are the skinnies, and really nice. So what I'm going to try to do here, the oars are nice, but they also, they're kind of bland in terms of visual cues. So if you're at the 7 and the 5 is looking at your oar, the 5 may not be able to tell exactly when the oar is being squared or feathered. So what I'm going to do is put some tape, and I'm going to put a piece of tape here, right on the label, and a piece of tape here on the inboard side. And that will give, and I'll explain a little bit more, that will give a visual, hopefully a visual cue to the trailing rower when the lead rower goes from the feather to the square on the recovery. So it might work, might not, but it's an experiment. Also going to put some tape up the shaft, I say up because the blades are pointed up right now, up by the spoons, way up top, and that's going to mark for the coxswain where the oar should, how deep it should sit in the water. And again, that depends. It's going to be a little bit deeper at the catch than the release, but it'll just give the coxswain a little bit of a benchmark or a guidepost, if you will. So I'll head on with that, and let's see what happens. So I've laid out the 4 port oars. I'm keeping them all on the side, the same side, so that's going to help a little bit with the tape. And I purchased a couple rolls of duct tape, as you can tell, pink and white. The white's going to be the background. I'm going to put a strip of white right here and put a little piece of pink here and a little piece of pink here for the visual cues. The reason I use pink and white is they like pink in this boat, and I think another boat might be a different color. So we're off to do that. Duct tape, because it'll stick well. Good quality duct tape. There's a lot of different duct tape that you can buy. I know there's others that are as good a quality, but I like the Scotch tape. So I'm going to be using that. And here we go. Now, duct tape can be tricky to get a clean edge. So what I've done is taken a strip of duct tape off and put it down here on a piece of plastic. This is old dining room tray. You can tell where it came from. And then using my X-Acto knife, that I'm going to just gently cut along and scar it. And then what I should be able to do is just peel this up, and it comes right off. And I've got a nice straight cut. And then what I can do is I can take it over here and put it right where I want it to be put. So duct tape on duct tape is a nice clean seal there, and that's going to give a visual cue when the oar is rotated. Now it looks kind of clunky, looks kind of big, and that's, believe it or not, that's exactly what I want, is a cue for the rower and the coxswain and the coaches to be able to see when there's a motion in the oar. Usually we look down there at the spoons when they turn, and that's fine, but that isn't the trailing rower. Again, if we're talking about 7 and 5, the 5 has a hard time seeing that, maybe just out of her peripheral vision. So in this case, where we've got the tape here, this is much in the rower's field of vision. So we'll see how that turns out. Just one word of safety with the utility knives. Very, very sharp. What I'm going to suggest, it's common sense, and sometimes we just don't do it, is extract or put the blade always in, or so retract the blade every time it's not used. I have had the blade out like this and put it in my pocket. If you're lucky in that case, all you do is ruin a pair of pants, and if you're unlucky, well, no need to go there. So here we have the 4 port oars with the tape on it. You can see when the blade's square, piece of tape on top. When it's feathered, again, a piece of tape on top. this is the piece of tape that the trailing rower will see. And when that oar goes from a feather, where it is now, to a square, hoping that that jumps out a little bit. That motion there translates to this motion here. So a little bit of experiment, a little bit of trying something different, and it may work, may not. But if it gets one person to get a little more engaged with the timing of the square, I think that will improve the overall timing. So the next piece of tape we're going to put on is down here on the shaft, really close where the blade at the intersection is, and it will probably be up here about 10 centimeters. I'm going to measure that with my handy dandy tape measure. We'll put it here, and the reason we're doing that is so the coxswain will get an idea of the depth of the oar at the catch. That tape should present itself a little bit more during the stroke. What I mean by that is, as they're going from the square, the catch to the release, that tape will come up a little bit out of the water. So now you can see the ports have the tape on it. This distance here is 10 centimeters. I think it depends on the type of oar you have in the spoon. You can see we're right about 10. It's just a guide, a guidepost. It's a benchmark for the coxswains, and so that when we're out on the water, we'll have a little bit better idea of what's up. These should be probably close to buried at the catch. Water might be here, and then it'll probably be here at the release.